The EPZ Q1 Pro! Let's talk about it! First of all, this is a nice little set that I purchased myself with a small discount from EPZ, so I much appreciate that from them. You know, a USB-C cable is hard to find. The only one I can think of is that if you want to get, you know, a cheaper IEM, like say maybe the Moondrop Ju or say the Moondrop May or something like that. In this IEM, you get a lot of great features with it, and I wanted to get into it. First of all, let's look at the shell. The shell is a really pretty blue. I really enjoy how it looks and feels. It's really tiny, and I wanted to show you another IEM that I have on my desk that is kind of one of my personal favorites. It is the AFU Magic 1. And you can tell if you look at this IEM that when you turn it to the side here that the Magic 1, well, I consider it to be a small IEM. The EPZ Q1 Pro is just tiny. It kind of has a unique angle to it, and it's just, I feel like it's a really small IEM. Let's look at the accessories of this as well. We have a nice USB-C cable. It feels really good. Reminds me a little bit of the Truth Ear Holoc cable. It just has a really good feel to it. It kind of has a springy, kind of a plush feel, and I really like it. It has a nice set of tips and a nice little bags. I mean, the bags aren't really for me. The tip selection, you know, I think it's adequate and fair for an IEM this price. So let's talk music on this IEM. It's overall just really enjoyable, and it's a really nice balanced set. Again, the bass presence could be a little bit better on this overall, but the quality of it just feels really strong and nice. There are some things that I don't necessarily like about it, but I think it does so much well for the price. Like when we look at Kill Joe, like one of my favorite songs, the first initial like track that goes off, it really pops off and it really has a lot going on for it. The vocals sound nice. When you look at Hotel California, it has a lot of detail, sparkle, and air. The treble on this set is really magnificent, and the overall sound for this IEM for the price, I think, is a good value, and I think that's something to be said. The bass quality feels really good on this IEM. There are a few things in that do feel a little bit off, and the resolution doesn't feel as good as some more expensive IEMs. But as far as having an enjoyable, simple experience, it's just really nice. Staging dynamics seem really good. King Kong is a really strong song on this IEM. I mean, overall, like music on this IEM is like a good 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10. It's just all around a really fun IEM for the price. It's small, it has a nice little accessory package, and music sounds fantastic on it. Okay, this is the graph of the EPZ Q1 Pro. You'll notice that it's kind of a lean graph, but overall it has pretty good qualities. Its treble is probably its best feature, and its air, and it has really good mids for what it is. Like, I was really quite impressed with it. Let's take a look at some of its competitors and some other IEMs around this price point to kind of get an idea of kind of how I feel and, you know, get some talking points here. Okay, this is versus another IEM, which we'll be reviewing on this channel probably in about a week or two. This is the EPZ Tipsy Star 1. And this is a pretty good set. You'll notice some very similar differences to it, but you'll notice that the treble response is a little bit flatter out here in the air region. The Tipsy does have a little bit more bass, but the bass is a little bit more, just to kind of note. I think these are both pretty comparable, and we'll talk more about the Tipsy Star 1 in about a week. I've just kind of got that in a little bit later, and so we'll be reviewing that soon. But I was able to graph it, and I just wanted to say I think it's pretty interesting. They're pretty similar with some kind of slight differences to kind of note. Here's a big comparison. This is the Truth Ear Red. Now, I think the mids are about the same. I think the bass response in the Truth Ear Red is about the same. But you'll notice there's some distinct differences, like up here in the upper mids. This is kind of a different peak that you'll kind of notice. And like this kind of cat ear style peak, sometimes some people feel that adds more space and sound to this. Well, I think the Truth Dare Critical Red is going for that higher kind of 3K peak and trying to get a little bit more vocal spike. But I think honestly that the EPZ Q1 does sound pretty darn good, all things considering. I think it's a little bit more flat, has some nice things going on. It's a lot smaller of a shell than the Truth Dare Critical Red, and so there's a lot going on here with this IM that make it really, really interesting. Here's another IM to talk about. This is another Critical IM. I just happen to have it graphed, and it's in this price point. And you'll notice this is the Critical 02. Now this does have a lot of bass. I don't think its overall tone and timbre and its treble extension is as refined as the EPZ Q Pro 1. But I think you get two different style kind of approaches. You know, do you want something a little bit more lean with a little bit more space? Or do you want something with a little bit more bass and vocal punch? These are both good contenders, both solid little IEMs, can really help you figure out what style of IEM that you might like. Again, I think there's a case in point for both. I mean, if you need a USB-C cable, the EPZ Q Pro 1, that is a definite added function. But the 7Hz Critical 02, if you're a bass head or you're someone who really likes bass, go ahead and go with the 7Hz Critical 02. I did find the bass on the EPZ Q1 Pro just a little bit lacking and not exactly what I would want out of an IEM. Now, the last one I did want to compare was the SIMGOT EW200. And the SIMGOT EW200, you'll notice that these have very, very similar graphs. Like, it's almost the same, but you know, the EPZ Q Pro 1 does have a little bit leaner bass, and so it comes across a little bit more flat. I think the EPZ Q Pro 1, it does have some different timbre qualities. Like, I feel like it's note weight and it's a little bit more rich, where the SIMGOT EW200 sounds a little bit more bright, a little bit more airy, a little bit more V-shaped. And there are different slight differences between these IEMs, despite their graphs having so many similar characteristics. So overall, I think this IEM is a good recommendation, especially if you're not really into having a really bassy set. I think it has good treble extension, it has good mids, it has a good spatial kind of a feel to it, but it does lack on a lot of EDM style music, and it doesn't have a lot of punch, slam, and dynamics. I kind of would recommend some other IEMs if that's really what you're going into. But I think for the price, I think this is a nice set. It does a lot of things really well, and it has a nice overall sonic tune. Thanks for watching. You're still here. It's over. Go home. Go watch another IEM video. It's done. That's the entire video. What more do you want?